welcome all of you to this latest installment of the Tutonic Deliver partnership. It's really great to be here with all of you. Again, the whole point of this relationship between Tutonic and Deliver is to provide a more holistic type of education to Tutonic students, because we know that as much as Tutonic is built upon providing math support to students, there are always going to be other challenges that exist in the life of a student that can, in many ways, influence your academic progress. And that is essentially what Deliver focuses on, providing that emotional intelligence backbone to ensure that students are holistically prepared, not just for school and the exams, but also for the wider world after they leave high school. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce Tumi, who is going to be leading today's session.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Elias. And it speaks true to what you're saying in terms of equipping them for other things in their lives. And today we'll be sort of focusing on 7 resources that can really help us to be the best that we can be in any circumstance we find ourselves in. Those resources, I'm just trying to share the screen.
Yeah, I'll put it on for you.
Please. As an organization, we firmly believe, very strongly in these resources of leadership, ours. Can everyone see what's on their screen?
1 second, sorry, I'm playing with somebody else's laptop here, so give me 1 second while I just get it in the middle.
Okay.
Charles, if you go to slideshow on top.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and then, yeah.
Are we good?
There we go. Yeah.
Yes. Those are resources of leadership. They are reasoning, risk-taking, resilience, reflection, responsible, relationship, resourceful, and reasoning. And today we are going to be also concentrating on how, as leaders, can we be more resourceful with these principles that we're going to sort of look at today. And we are constantly in use of them every day, whether we are aware of it or we're not aware of it. They are always in some way in play. And we sort of also believe that relationship is what holds them all together. Can we have the second slide, Charlie? As I was saying, that they are always a part of our activity per day in everything that we do, and ownership and practice of it creates a way that we are able to sort of shine, and makes it easy for us to reflect and build stronger relationships with the people that can help us to succeed. Right now, I'd like us to introduce ourselves and share one thing that is in your room. Like, tell us about one thing, tell us who you are, and share one thing that is in your room. Anyone can go.
Okay, I'm Layla. One thing that's in my room is a laptop and an extension cord. I'm saying that because I nearly had some issues with power where I would have needed to actually use that resource so I could sit in the spot I wanted to with my laptop and still attend the workshop.
Thank you so much, Layla.
Sure.
Hi, my name is Elias, and there's a lot of things in my room, but something that's been quite new lately is hand sanitizer.
New. It's supposed to be 5 months old.
No, well, I mean, compared to the past, yeah. Like, got a whole, yeah.
Wow. Thanks.
I'll go next. Good morning, everyone. My name is Anne. I have a bookshelf, as you can see in my background, full of books.
Hi everyone, I've got this in my room and my water bottle. The most important things at the moment right now. Oh, and also, okay, sorry.
No, it's cool. Go.
And I'm in Boxburg High School. I'm in RCL at the moment. Well, I was, but because of Corona, we've had to dissolve the RCL group.
Thank you, Nduleli.
Good morning. I'm Nusret, and one thing I have in my room is a typewriter. It is one of the strangest things to have, but I love it. It's the most important thing in my life.
Wow. Thank you, Nusrat. Do I have your name right? Nusrat.
Not quite, but nobody can pronounce it, so it's okay.
Okay, I'm really sorry about that, though.
What is the correct pronunciation? I also thought it was Nusrat.
It's Nusret. But I also can't properly pronounce my name. It's like the S, I can't pronounce that properly.
Okay.
Would you like me to share as well?
Yes, go. Please tell us what's on.
What's in my room is nothing because I'm outside, and I'm looking at bright sunshine and little trees and lettuces growing. So I win the prize for the weirdest room. Okay.
Wow, thank you. I'll also share. I have a pair. I just walked into a room myself, and my room there is a pair of sunglasses on top of the table. A pair of bunnies. Yeah. So is that everyone? Nah, that should be everyone.
Anne hasn't gone yet.
And his bookshelves.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes,
Yes.
I have. There's a lot of things, but yeah.
And has a bookshelf. Yes. So I'd like us to also create some safety as we've sort of introduced ourselves. I want us to create safety for us to be able to share whatever is on our thoughts regarding what we're going to be going through today and make it safe for us. So I want us to create a container, build a container for us where we will be able to do that. And we need a few skills to be able to have a very successful workshop. So I'd like us to go on to Mentimeter. Not Mentimeter, Tutonic. And tell us, for the success and the extreme fun of this workshop, what skill are you willing to bring today for that, for us to achieve?
And Tumi, I'm just going to get to your place to put them on the Mentimeter so they can see the code, all right?
Okay.
Because all the details are on the laptop. Excuse me, everyone. 1 second.
Hold on over here. Where is it?
It's down here. Here. So, where's the technology? Yeah.
Morning, Musiwa. Welcome.
Morning, everyone.
Let me email it.
My connection has been giving me delays. Sorry.
I don't know if that's shared. I don't know if that's shared. Let's check to see if it's shared. Has. Yeah.
So please log on to Mentimeter. Can you see what
one skill are you going to bring to this workshop to make it fun and participatory? So
The screen isn't shared. We can't see the screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I need to.
Okay, I'll do that. Escape. Oh, you know how. You can do it. Okay, look, just go here. So sharing, it's a learning session.
Also,
guys.
as we're learning skills.
There we go. So you just go share screen.
Yeah.
Touch that. Okay. Right. Can you guys see that?
Yes, we can.
Everybody see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's being flexible and resourceful because we swapped laptops, eh?
Yeah.
Everybody is just learning their new way around a new
laptop.
Hey.
And you're not Charles. Okay, so is everyone filling that in?
So do we all have the code? No?
Maybe he just needs to get off.
Is it working? I don't know. Is it not possible for her to have her laptop? Otherwise, I can't do what I'm doing. I've got the video on the other one. I don't think.
So we can see some nice responses. Experience is a nice response. And what's amazing is that we've got a wealth of experience today. Some people, because there's great diversity in the ages. So we've got some high school students, got some university students in Leila and myself, and also got people who've been involved in this type of work for many years. So experience is a great tool to have. And one of the cool things about workshops is that you're learning from each other, not just one person giving information. Charles, have you managed to sort things out? You're on mute, Charles.
Yeah, no, we're good. We're good to go now. I think we've resolved everything.
Okay.
Yeah, can you imagine lectures being done in workshop form? Can you imagine learning about the body or the neural system as a workshop?
Yeah, it's quite different. Not really something you used to get. Just people telling you this is how it works, but it's often such a lot of information that it's difficult to absorb everything if people just tell you everything.
Sure. We've got a little technical issue. Tumi's machine has just literally gone off, but we're fixing it. So you'll hear my voice for a few minutes just while she gets back online. the word that most appeals is the biggest word on your word cloud, which is perspective. Would anybody be willing to share what that means to them? Nusrat or Umleleki? I'm just going to put it to you two.
Perspective to me is how I see the world, but or based on my experiences and what I've been through, my perspective would change, I think. Yeah.
Okay. So, Umleleki, what does it mean, perspective? That's what I'm asking, really. Because it's a good word. Yeah.
For me, perspective is how you see things in your day-to-day life, because there's always, I like to say there's two sides to every coin. So people tend to always see just the heads or the tails. But if you view it in such a way that there's a broader image, you are able to correlate with people's process of thinking, if I can put it that way. So you guys are able to reach a certain goal because you have this established the same platform in which you guys can communicate and the same goals that you guys have.
Okay, wow. That is a pretty thorough answer. I wasn't expecting such a great answer, man. They're doing something very good with you in Boxbird, I reckon. Huh? Tumi's back in. Tumi, you there? Tumi?
Yes, I just lost some sound.
Sure. Okay, I'm back. I'm going to mute myself now.
Okay. So I'm guessing Muleki was talking about his input. Like I say, I lost a bit of sound. Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
I can hear you, Tumi.
Oh, okay. I didn't receive any feedback from you, so I'm having trouble hearing you guys.
Tumi, you're on mute, eh?
Tumi, we can't hear you now. Hi, Leila.
Hi, Musiba. Tumi, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Thanks, Mark. I hear you clearly as well. Wow. What flexibility we've been needing this morning, me and my team. Tell me about it. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for your input. It looks quite interesting that everybody will be bringing those skills. So we'll be looking forward to it, especially the humor. I'm guessing all the Chakarohas today will sort of be, at the end of it, we'll laugh a bit about it. So I'd like us to sort of now dive a little bit deeper into our session for the day today. Our 7 R's. So we are going to have a look at a video that speaks to leadership being resourceful, and resourceful being one of our 7 R's. I'm very sorry that I do not have the meanings, the definitions, but if we have enough time today and during our conversation, can everyone please look them up so that we can get to share and have a bit more understanding of what these R's mean, because on our PowerPoint, we don't have the definitions. So for more understanding, please Google, but we're going to have a video now. Charlie's going to share a video about leadership, being resourceful in leadership, and the importance of being able to use these skills, because at the end of the day, we'd like us to be able to use these skills. So we're going to have a look at the video. and we'll debrief a bit after that. And if possible, we'll also share some definitions for understanding into what we'll be using. So I'm not sure if Charlie is ready to use, to share the screen for the video.
I'm just putting it on the video, so 1 second. Yeah. 1 second, sorry, give me 1 more second. I just need to find.
As you're trying to share. So we're always learning some things too. We're always learning skills. We're always learning. We're always attending trainings and to get ourselves better. And this is what we're doing also today. And I think it is also important for us to learn why we want to use them, why we want to learn the skills and the importance of using them. You know, because here in this video we'll identify. Tony's going to give us a challenge of being resourceful. We have a lot of stories when it comes to that. So let's hear what Tony has to say.
Every person in this room who described failure described it for the following reasons. And I gave all the reasons: time, money, network we don't have, people we don't have, not the right management, not the right people, right? We don't have the resource. And they went through this whole thing. I said, what all these things, not of Supreme Court justices, what they all have in common is you're all saying we didn't have the resources to succeed. Money is a resource. Time is a resource. Technology is a resource. People is a resource. Experience is a resource. Supreme Court justices are so many resources, right? And they all agreed. I said, here's the only problem. I said, in my experience, and you correct me if you're wrong, and I want an honest answer. When we get out of ourselves and we look at human beings and their ability to succeed or fail, how many people you've ever met who did not have the resources and they beat somebody who had all the resources? I said, resources, when you look at the most powerful and effective people in history, were never the problem. They didn't have the resources, but they got them. How do people get resources when they don't have them? The answer is they're resourceful. The ultimate resource is resourcefulness. That's what makes someone successful. And here's what's great about resourcefulness. Who has it within them? Who? Who? Every human being, but the question is whether you access it or not.
Thank you so much, Charlie. And if we had the time, I would really like us to play the last bit of the video because of it. He mentions something very significant, saying that the important resource is to be able to be resourceful about it. And we have 7 resources. 7 resources that I'm saying that we use every day. But before we go into the debrief, can we please just in also looking at the time, can we do we have some definitions? Do we have people with definitions so that we get to understand a bit more before we dive into how and when we use the resource, these 7 skills? Anyone?
I just Googled it. Google says resourcefulness is having the ability to find quick and clever ways to overcome difficulties.
Equip yourself with clever ways to deal with
difficulties.
Okay, so that's resourcefulness. Do you have anyone with relationship?
Hi, Tumi. On relationship, to have a meaningful connection with someone involving respect, care, and communication.
Thanks, Ma'am.
Okay, I have risk taking, the act or fact of doing something that involves danger or risk in order to achieve a goal.
Okay. Not so much on the risk, not so much on the danger for us. The danger is not like climbing off something very dangerous, right? But just putting yourself out there.
Yeah,
And
it
then
can be
also like
emotionally dangerous or
Yes.
difficult, let's say. Uncomfortable. Yeah.
and in
Yes.
resilience, you could say it's the capacity to recover from difficulties.
Mhm. We have two more. Monsieur, which one did you Google, sir? Because you see, in us talking about it, I'm sure everyone is sort of having a better understanding of these resources. And so we've done resilience, relationship, resourcefulness.
Okay, reasoning says the drawing of inferences or conclusions through the use of reason.
Can you repeat that again, Leila?
Sure. So for reasoning, the drawing of inferences or conclusions through the use of reason.
I've got responsible, to lead, be dependable, think and act proactively, take ownership of your future.
Mm-hmm. I think we've got all of them.
Did we do reflection?
Oh.
Yeah. To look at and critically evaluate your own behavior and thinking.
Oh, thank you so much. Can we also add those definitions on chat for us so that we can go back to them as we need. So Tony in the video speaks of the of victimhood. Saying that we do not have something in order for us to achieve whatever goal that we want to achieve. And what do you think he says also about victimhood or victim thinking? And maybe in relation to the 7 R's.
Well, when he spoke about people complaining that they didn't have the resources, you can see that as someone who's trying to be a victim and who's not actually trying to overcome it, nor rather just say, I don't have the resources, I'm never going to achieve anything. I think that's what I got.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also, like, what extent do you give, and to what extent do you take? Unfortunately, how do we sort of tell people that it's important to earn your success, but at the same time try and redress a lot of the systemic inequalities that do exist in our society? I think that's something that one needs to wrestle with.
Yes, Elias. There is always some form of thinking that that we carry that says that we are unable to do stuff. We do not have the relationships to be able to get us to the next point. You are not going to be able to bounce back. You are not resilient enough to overcome whatever challenge you're facing, whether it be an exam or maybe building that relationship that you need, or taking yourself away from one that is not working for you. So there's always I think also how he speaks about being useful, being resourceful, is that if we can identify what we need to do from a personal perspective, then we can be able to achieve, to have those trusting relationships, to overcome challenges, to make decisions that are not influenced by how you are feeling, but maybe by the bigger goal. Anyone, any more thoughts regarding how victimhood, how he spoke about it? Mluleki?
Can you just please repeat the question? I was helping my dad with something.
Oh yeah, okay. No, we were just talking about the video that we just saw now. Yeah, Tony Robinson, and he speaks about how we are always saying that we don't have enough. How we being victims of our thinking. So I wanted to sort of see if ever you had any thoughts about it, what you thought of that segment of his video.
Okay, so a while back, my dad showed me a video of a professor depicting what how do I put this? Depicting what head start that some people have. So some people have the resources such as money, a stable family that other kids don't. So he asked them to stand in a line. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it. He asked them to stand in the line, and then as he was saying these categories that gave them an edge in life, such as having money, having a stable parent, having a father figure, and having all that present in their life, prevalent in their life. There were kids who stepped forward, and when they looked behind them, the professor told them that all these kids have the ability to be just like you, just because they have certain privileges. In the end, they will always catch up to you if they have the ability and resilience to overcome the difficulties that they face in life and such. And therefore, it's like a race. In the end, if they have all of that, they will finish the race.
And has anybody seen that video? I think that's quite a very interesting video and very insightful as well, because I think the facilitator speaks of almost outside resources, finances, but I also think that he also speaks of resources that are that can be internal as well, because having support, having good relationships is also a resource that one needs to be able to succeed. Like the resource Tutonic is for the matriculants. These relationships that you have formed with your mentors and the people that run Tutonic are offering themselves as resources to be able to help you succeed.
I'll try and link the video.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I've seen the video too.
Seen the video.
Yeah, I've watched it. It's pretty interesting because of how privileged sometimes as people we don't realize how much resources we have in terms of the privilege we have around us. So it's a really interesting video. It's same as when you're doing crossing the line, knowing when to step up or not, and whether you have it in you or you have it around you. So it's a really good video to watch. Thank you.
True, it is. It is. But how can we be more resourceful with the resources that we are speaking of today? How can relationships help us achieve what we need to achieve as leaders? what relationships you need to build. What reasoning capacity as a leader do you need to show in order for you to be able to make choices that are fruitful for you? As leaders, do you need to be resilient? Why do we need to be resilient? How can resourcefulness as a leader support you to be an even better leader? Nusrat, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here. I think that as a leader, it's really important to be flexible with what you have. And if you can be resourceful, then you can find a way to move around the challenges that you have. And you can always step up no matter what's being put in front of you. And I think that has a lot to do with resilience as well.
Yes. Thank you so much, Nusrat. Hi, Khozo. Thank you for joining us.
So maybe if you want to introduce yourself to the others. I know we know each other, but maybe you want to just tell everybody else who you are and which grade you're in, and yeah, just a little bit of one thing in your room.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Otto. I live in Gauteng, Pretoria, at Richfield, and I'm doing grade 9 at a school called Bohon. And I joined Tutonic about a month ago, I think, or 2. I don't know if you know. But I'm quite enjoying it a lot because it's helping me. It's really helping me. So lately I think I'm depending on it really on my studies, my math studies and my math programs. So I could say I'm benefiting from it because according to my marks, they are really ascending. They are going in order, they're really increasing and stuff. So I'm benefiting from it. So yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm glad Tutonic is working for you. I'm glad it is. So we were having a debrief. We've just watched a video. Today's workshop is on on 7 resources that we highly esteem to as an organization and as a program. You'll get to hear about it as we continue, but please check your chats. Check your chat, and then you'll engage with us in terms of what you are seeing there and how much we've shared. Yeah.
Tumi, can I make a request? We're getting a lot of ideas from people. What would be really nice to hear on the chat is the evidence, like where these R's or where their resourcefulness has kicked in their lives. Because there's nothing like evidence. No one ever went to jail without evidence. No one ever succeeded without evidence. Yeah. So it's just a request, if people want to, please to give a little bit more of the drama. Oh, I've got one here from Nusrat. Can I just read it aloud?
Please.
Nusrat says, I started a drama club at my school, and initially the school didn't give us funds, and there were lots of learners who didn't commit. So I had to be very flexible around that and creating a solution for that. And because it took so long, I had to just keep going. Brilliant example, because she was saying resourcefulness and resilience seem to work so closely together. And that's a great short story that illustrates that. So more of that, please. Hear your stories, Khoto, Omleleki, or Leila, or Elias, anyone, Masiwa, and anyway, that's me. I'll back down now.
Yes, and not even going into going very deep into the stories, because I want us to go into our breakaways and share more of those stories in terms of how we've used these R's in our relationships. But how have you seen yourself use the R's anyways? Like not with not giving too much away that so that you don't have anything to share in the breakaways. But yes, how do you think, how has it shown up?
I don't know why I'm thinking back to a very old kind of example back from probably primary school days for me, when I was on our school's netball team. And I think a lot of the R's were present there. So I was the shooter for the team, because in netball, only 2 people can actually score the goals. So you too. So for me there was responsibility, but also using other people as resources because we all had the different positions to play. So for instance, the center was the one who needed to run everywhere. I relied on her to get the ball to me. And of course, then relationship is also super important, to have those good connections with the teammates to actually be effective as a team. Yeah.
True story, Leila. True story. Any more relations?
Okay, I'll go next. So I'm an RCL in my school. I go to Boksburg High School in Gauteng, and what we've had to do, being RCLs, what it entails is that we have this thing called cultural day. So we participate in sports and events, and we have to basically control the school. So in doing that, you have to form good relations with your peers and your fellow RCLs so that we can, so we compete. There are 4 houses, and we have to, and each house competes to each other to get this cup called the Viking Cup. So that is overall sports. You're winning in sports, you're winning in the cultural events and all that. So I think relationship and reasoning there and resilience also takes a very prevalent role in being, an RCL.
Yeah, they do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Murik. Thank you so much. Now, because I don't want us to sort of use up a lot of time, and I want us to really dive into our stories. Can we use those breakaways now? And seeing that we've spoken about how these R's are showing up, and they are showing up in team sports. They're showing up in the RCL. And what about you? What resources, what R's, what R did you see yourself needing to use in a relationship recently? Let's say in the last 2 or 3 weeks, which R did you see come into play, or did you have to use in one of your relationships? We'll go into breakaways now, and I think Elias, you can put Muleleki Khoto and Nusrat in one. Is that okay?
Elias, you're on mute, eh?
I can do that. But what about, would you like me to put maybe Anne or CY in one? What do you think about that?
Yes, please. Mama Anne.
And
Can I suggest to me that perhaps so they get more airtime, Hotso goes with somebody and Umleki, so because otherwise there's 3 in one room, they'll have a little less time to talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, we can do that. I can go. Maybe Leila, would you like to go with Khotso?
Sure, I don't mind.
Okay. And then I'll put Charles and Anne can be together. Okay. I'm opening up the groups. Maybe just want to repeat what the task is to me, just so they are very clear on what needs to be done.
Yes. So we are going to share a story of where you've had to use any of the R's in your relationship, where you've seen yourself really having to use one.
Great. Okay, I'll open up the rooms now.
Thank you.
So you must just click join. They'll ask you to join the breakout room, so just click join. Okay, some of them are joining. Great. And Charles, you must just join the breakout. And Hotso, you must join the breakout room. Hotso? And you must join the breakout room. And Hotso? Hotso, are you there? It's not responding.
Okay. How much time did you give? Did you set for the breakaways?
Oh, he's joined again. I think maybe there's an issue.
Yeah. Well, he did mention that he's struggling with connection.
Hotso, are you there?
Oh yes, I'm there, but I'm having a bit of a connection problem.
Okay, but we can still hear you. So I'm going to move you to the breakout room. Okay, so you're going to join the breakout room with Layla.
Oh, okay.
So just join. It should give you an option to join it. Okay, there we go. I'll just remove this one.
Okay. So let's quickly share our story.
You can share your story.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think today has proven to sort of me needing almost all the arts. When I left in the morning, it almost felt like I wasn't prepared. So I needed to be more reasonable, and not shout at my husband for taking so long, and not really be emotional about it. So I've had to show a lot of that in the last few weeks, anyways. That I didn't know that marriage can be so difficult sometimes, but it's emotionally taxing. So I've had to think things through lately, different, more than I would be sort of emotional. And
I mean,
yeah.
See, this part is being a live stream to YouTube. So maybe I was thinking, would you like to join a separate breakout room? Because that's not going to be on YouTube.
No, that's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay. So I'll move you to the breakout room 4.
No, you don't have to move me to the breakout room. It's fine.
Are you sure? No, because I mean, yeah.
No, I mean, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Don't worry about it. I mean, at the end of the day, as to almost give an idea of what we talk about.
Yes. Yeah. From my side, I think Tutonic is a great example of resilience. Because we started this program 4 years ago, 2016. And the problem is that the way Teutonic operates, there isn't really an organization that operates in exactly the same way as we do. Especially the asynchronous teaching of students. So that was always going to be something new for us. And what that meant is that there was this trial and error that we had to go through in experimenting how to best teach students in this way. And we failed a lot. But again, Samuel Beckett said something really nice. Fail once, fail again, fail better. And I think that's a beautiful quote because it teaches us that if you don't fail, because through that process of failing, it's taught me so much about my capabilities and uncovering things about myself and Tutonic, and how do we make things better and improve. Like in 2017, right now we have about 25 tutors, but in 2017 there was only one. So, and you still had so many students to teach, because just to convince people to engage in this type of program, it was tough. So definitely, I really resonate with this concept of resilience, because it was very easy for me. It could have been easy for me just to say, okay, let's just stop this. There's no use anymore. Things are not going as well as you had planned theoretically. It would have been easy to quit. It was harder to continue than to quit. And I think that's what resilience is. That when it's so easy to just say no and quit, but to push through, it requires a lot of mental strength, or demand mental strength. But we can sit here 4 years down the line and have all these workshops with Deliver. Things are going reasonably well. There are 900 students registered on the platform, 25 tutors. You've created over 1,000 videos on mathematics. So there are fruits to this process, but it requires a lot of mental energy.
The risk was worth it.
Yes, exactly. But that's the whole process. It's a process of, it wasn't instant success. And I think that's what a lot of people expect these days, that I push a button and I've achieved all this stuff.
Yeah.
But
Instant gratification.
that's not real success. Real success is gradual progress over a sustained period of time.
It's a great illustration, yes, in terms of how you've applied the R's, all of them, but how resilience almost sticks to the surface, into how it has given you the ability to push forward, and really make Tutonic the best of what it is today, and continuously to sort of improve. Yeah.
How long do you
much,
want to keep them?
Yeah, no, that's I'm asking that we can bring them back. How long was it? That's why I was asking.
What time did we
How long
send them?
did you? Pardon?
What time did we send them out?
You can bring them back.
You think so?
Yeah, we can bring them back. I can't remember how long ago, but I think they are more than 5 minutes now. They went in at about 12:02, 12:03. Now it's 12:09. So I think that's enough time.
Maybe we can just send a message. Oh, this one has come back. Okay. So yeah, I'm closing the rooms. Shot you back.
Yes, mine is right.
Yep. And we weren't sure whether everyone was back in the main room or not, in the main section, main place. I don't know what it's called.
The main room, yeah, you can say it's the main room. Everybody's coming back now. Okay. Yeah, I think everybody is back. And yeah. Take it away.
Yes. Welcome back, everyone. Me and Elias just had a very insightful chat around how we use the 7 R's. Tell us. We'll share ours a little later. We'll leave the best for last. I'm joking, but please share what stood out for you in your storytelling. Your experience, what you heard more than anything, what you heard your partner say, and which R's do you think stood out for you in their story? Khotso, who were you with?
Sorry.
Unmute,
Oh,
unmute.
yeah.
So who were you sharing with?
Oh yeah, I was sharing my story with Leila.
With Nusrat? Oh, with Leila. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. What's your experience? Tell us what stood out for you, whether in your story or in Leila's story.
Okay, I really like her story more than mine because it kind of got my soft spot because she was talking about helping each other. You know, when she was talking, I was really listening to her, imagining myself doing the things she was doing. So like I was imagining myself helping others, and I really think the people she helped really benefited from what she did because not everyone can do what she did. Because like let's say we are close friends in here in this room, and one of us starts a fight, and all of us just go to the fight, and if it's one of us just stays and the decent one, he stays and looks at us, he feels the pain that we are not we are really feeling, but we don't want to show it. So as we are fighting, she helps us, she does stuff like this, she makes us understand that as we can work together as a team, not everyone can go through anything. I mean, like, I do believe that anything is possible, but then not without someone who helps you. So I can say that I am gonna try what she did, helping others. You know, when people are fighting, when people don't understand each other, when people are clashing every time, someone has to step in and help them, even though they don't understand. It's going to seem like he's trying to, stop the flame and stuff, but then he's helping. They're soon going to understand that he was helping, stuff like that. That's what I love about his story. I was liking it. It's nice.
Okay. That's amazing, Khotso. So which art is sort of standing out there? Which art do you think is standing out in Leila's story? And which is the one that you think the art you need to sort of cultivate in you in order to, because I think you're saying that you want to be more and you want to do more what Leila is doing. We were having a bit connection. I didn't hear you properly. But am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So really, what stands out for me really is responsibility. Responsibility is what I really want to, I want to put it in me. I just want to, increase it. Really, I have a low rate of responsibility myself because some of the things I don't really take responsibility of them. I gotta do that. But then she like encouraged me, like I just have to take responsibility for my actions and stuff. That's what I want to increase in my personality.
Wow. Leila, you're hot, Mas. It sounds like you're very motivational to Khotso.
I mean, I didn't even expect that reaction. Very near the end of the kind of breakout room, he spoke first, and for most of the time gave a very detailed story, which I also really enjoyed listening to. And then I did my little bit at the end. I said, okay, mine's quite short, but I kind of gave a bit of a general example of some things with friends, and yeah, and I could see he was like really listening very intently, and then you obviously just heard everything that he said now. I wasn't trying to be particularly motivating or anything, so that's very nice though. And yeah, I also really enjoyed listening to his experiences, and the R's that stood out there for him, I think, were reflection and reasoning. And it was actually really nice to see in his story how using the reflection and reasoning came to a good outcome in the situation that was happening. So it was actually just nice to see the progression, his thought process, and then the positive outcome. Yeah.
It's always good when there's a positive outcome, the outcome that we want. Yes.
It was nice to see the growth, really. Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you so much. Mluleki, what stood out for you? What art stood out for you in your sharing?
So Nusrat and I, did I pronounce that right? I'm sorry if I butchered your name. I'm really sorry. Nusrat and I spoke about, so her story was about, I'm not trying to get too personal, so I'm just going to keep it fairly detailed. So she said that her brother and her had a very difficult relationship with each other. So she had to find it within herself to be tolerant of him. I'm not sure if I can use that word, but to be resilient and to find reasoning in order to have a stronger relationship with one another. And then I spoke about, I was in grade 8, I was in a different school. So I had to move to a different school because I moved to a different location. So moving to that different school, I wasn't able to adapt to the new change. So I had to find friends, and which was really tough for me because I'm a really antisocial person. So with that, I found these friends, and they helped me through every step of the way. We're still friends to this day. We do everything together. We join RCLs together and all that. So yeah, now the difficulties I was facing with that is because I moving to a different school, I had to adapt to the way that the teachers were teaching, which was not the same as my previous school. So I'd have to ask my friends after classes and to please just explain to me, because more often than not, teachers always explain from their perspective. Elias and I was speaking about this the other time. Yeah, they usually explain from their perspective and not able to bridge the gap for you to understand it better. So I always used to just go to my friends because they were actually quite good in that. So I think that the R's that are prevalent in my story were relationship, resourceful, and reasoning.
Thank you, Mluleki. And I'm glad that you wrote them down. I'm really glad that you wrote them down. Nusrat, any thoughts?
What I found really interesting about Muleke's story is that he struggled to make relationships, to form relationships, but he's still done it either way, and his relationships lasted. So the resilience in that really intrigued me, and the way he formed his relationships, they were also really interesting. How he found his relationships were also just intriguing, and he had a lot of reasoning in his story, and yeah, it was interesting.
I'm glad that we also learn quite a lot from the stories that we are hearing, because the people that are around us are sort of almost wells of knowledge that we can gather stuff from. And in listening to them, did you notice any more R's that you were sort of using as well? And I'm coming to you, Mama, and Charles, to sort of tell us in response to the question that I'm asking, that which R's, in listening to their stories, which R's did then come up for you? Because maybe you were talking about one R, but in hearing their story, you are sort of also noticing, I used a lot more R's, and these are the R's. Which ones were those? Mama Ann?
Mama Ann can go as long as I get called Papa Charles afterwards, okay?
Don't be jealous.
To make a fun for you, Charlie.
I'm Mama Ann. Yeah, listening to Charles' story, there's a lot of reasoning that he had to put in place. with trying to guide his eldest daughter. That's the relationship that we spoke about. Reasoning is very, very important for him. A lot of reflection, responsibility as well, because he stated that he needs to respect the wishes of the daughter, the age that they are at. So whatever he tries to do to assist the daughter, he has to be responsible and give the space. So a lot of the R's came into the picture. I think nearly all of them, which was great, and learning for him as well, and the number of risks that he takes by approaching the daughter. It's risky as well. Sometimes if they are stubborn, they think you don't give them space. So he is faced with all those risks. Am I representing you, Mr. Papa Charles?
Mara, what did you learn? What did you learn about yourself in listening to Charlie's story? Because here we like a few minutes ago, we debriefed on how the stories that we heard were so inspiring and how we noticed the use of the R's in their stories, how the importance of it and how it came up for them, and how Mululek, is it Mululek or Khozo, who wants to be more responsible, you know? So what did you learn? What did you notice about yourself and the use of the R's in Charlie's story?
There's so much learning, and there is no prescription to how you respond to life as a whole. And I think at the beginning when we played that video, resourcefulness comes in great, because I listened to Khoto's story. He's already using the Leila story as a resource. Mluleki, same thing from Nusrat's story. It's a resource. So they all come into the picture, and consciously or unconsciously, one finds that you are applying them all the way, all the time.
All the time. Yes, and Charlie, do you want to share?
Sure. If Anne was telling a very funny story about how grandchildren don't so much listen to what we say, but they watch what we say. And so it's all about the power of role modeling. And I'm not sure which I was so taken by the story about how basically the grandchildren are doing what the grandfather says, never mind what the grandmother insists on, yeah? And I think it's a story we all know, you know? Do as I do, not what I say. Or we don't say that, but that's what ends up happening. So the grandchildren were just naturally resourceful. They just went, I've got an example here, I'll follow this example, right? I suppose the question is, which example comes first? If the granny had demonstrated what she wanted before the grandfather, perhaps they would have followed her.
So is that what you're learning, Charlie?
Well, I'm wondering, I've just got that question in my mind, you know, who gets to influence the grandchildren first, you know? But there was definitely also a little bit of grandchildren playing one grandparent off against the other grandparent, right? Which was quite resourceful of them to say, we've done nothing wrong. We're just doing what grandpa does, right? And humans are naturally very tricky creatures, right? Even adults, you know, we want to get out of a jam. How do we do it? So I actually posted on Facebook the other day to say, let's be careful that we don't let us believe that resourceful means we can steal from the state, you know, because resourceful can also end up us justifying, you know, unethical behavior.
Yeah.
So in terms of culture, if you like, the grandchildren were being unethical. But then they said, well, listen, I'm just doing what somebody else is demonstrating to me. So it was a bit like Anne was saying, there's a lot of the R's. It was a question about how to be responsible, you know, how to do what you expected to do. But there was also a question about grandpa's responsibility, because he influenced the grandchildren. And it's made me reflect a lot about when I raise my voice, what message am I sending to my children? Okay. Or if I don't listen, if I interrupt my children, because our kitchen table is a battleground for who wants to get airtime. Okay. You might know that. This story might sound familiar to you. So I'm reflecting on, if I interrupt, what am I saying to my child? I can't accuse her of interrupting if I model interruption, right?
Yeah.
So it's making me, my brain is fried, right? Brain is absolutely thick with ideas about parenthood and perhaps one day grandparenthood. Okay.
We'll design a workshop for you, don't worry. But Mululeki, Nusrat, and Khotso, I still would like to hear some of more of your voices, and not canceling out Ilyas and Leila as well, but because I think we're all here to sort of help each other and help you guys identify the use of these arts. Please do not let the rest of us keep you quiet. Ne? Yeah. So what did you learn? What did you learn about yourself? Just one more from Elias, and then I'd like us to sort of move on to the action steps. What do we do more now? How can we become more of the arts? But what did you learn? What stood out for you, and what did you learn about yourself in the story that you are hearing, Elias, from all of us, and in the story that you told?
Yes, so I think that because we don't talk about these things with each other, we keep a lot of these things hidden within us. And the natural consequence of that is that it can make us very distant from each other, and we may not realize how similar our experiences are. And I think that has happened every week, every time that we've had these engagements, that the children or the students would say something that you actually do resonate with. But it's only through having these engagements where they're sharing their experiences that you realize that. So there's a lot more things that unite us than what divide us. Not to say that we don't have diversity, but rather that unity comes through diversity. We're united in that diversity. So I just get really excited to always hear from students about what their experiences are and to see how they are trying to navigate and work on those challenges. I think I said this a few weeks ago, but somebody asked me when I was in first year, 2016, somebody asked me, what's the first stage in winning a war? I'll put that to the group. What is the first stage in winning a war? Anyone?
Teamwork.
Yeah,
Teamwork working together.
Pardon?
Teamwork. Okay, that's
teamwork. We have to work together.
Important, but it's not the first thing. What's the first thing to win a war? Charles, Oleki?
Okay.
Okay, so maybe it depends on what kind of war, in inverted commas, we're talking about. But identifying the issues, possibly.
Okay, so Charles said something. Okay, no, so Oleki. So that's not the first thing. It's not the first thing. It's important, but it's not the first thing. Oleki.
Can you say critical thinking?
It's important, but not the first thing. And
train for war.
Get ready.
I'm not talking about the physical. It's not the physical.
In work to actually win.
Important, but not the first thing. Charles, you want to give it a go? You're on mute.
To know your opponent.
Important, but not the first.
I said know what you want to achieve. No one leaves the door of their house unless they know they're going somewhere. So
Important, but not the first thing.
Maybe Nusrat has the first thing.
But it's something like make sure you've gone to the toilet first. Something really small and significant.
No.
I want to know what Nusrat's thinking. I'd like to know what Nusrat is thinking.
Perhaps it's knowing what your war is about.
Important, but not the first thing.
Elias, just repeat the question one more time.
Well, the first step in winning a war.
Winning a war.
It's important, but all the things you've said are important. But the first step is to know that there is a war. To be aware of the war. Obviously, you want to win the war. You have to know your enemy. You have to have the skills. You have to have teamwork. You have to have courage. You have to know what your objectives are. But you have to first know that there is a war. So the same thing with life. Many of us might have hidden challenges that we're not even aware about. And the only way we can conquer them is if we look deep into ourselves and identify what those challenges are. So we might have an internal war that we are fighting, but we may not even realize that we're in that battle. And if you're not in the battle, you're not going to fight the battle. Or if you don't know that something is indeed a challenge, then you're not going to try and overcome the challenge. You could have the best strategy to win the war, but if you weren't even aware that there is one, then you're not going to do anything. So that's, and I think that links well with what you guys have said, that you've all had challenges, and sometimes you need to listen to other people to realize that actually that is something that I'm also experiencing. And now you've identified what the war is or the challenge is, and you strategize now in terms of how do you win the war.
Does it also, maybe, can I also add, okay, Charlie, I see you, but does it also, do you think it can also add that you can identify the tools that you need in order for you to sort of identify them?
Yes, but before you can do that, you have to know that there is a problem that you need tools for. Yeah. Charles, you want to say something?
Sure. Elias, you've gone to the center of Naledi right now.
True.
Right in the heart of Naledi, which is, and if you see on the chat, I've said challenges, I'm just recording what you said, challenges can be internal and external, but ownership through introspection and sharing is Naledi in one sentence. But the second bit that I've left out is that we want ownership, to acknowledge that you have a challenge, whether it's with another person or with yourself, is the first step. And the next step, which we want ultimately for Khotso and Mluleki, well, for all of us, is for the ownership to turn into action, into agency. Yeah. But ownership is the word that sums up for me what you've said. And I'm just highlighting it because, when you hit gold, you want to tell everybody you've hit gold, right?
Sure. And we've seen already a great example of that in, Khotso and Leila's story, that where Khotso identified his war and he decided on the tool to use in order for him to be able to, let's say, fight, win, or move forth in the war that he's wanting to go into. Am I right, Khotso?
Sorry, I think you have a connection problem. I couldn't hear you properly, but some of the words that you said, I did hear them.
Oh yeah, no, I was just reflecting back on the story that you shared with you and Leila, and you being able to identify what do you think you need, what your, call it war, what your is, that you need to be more responsible, you want to be more responsible, and responsibility, is calling for you in this case, right? Nusrat, do you think the R can be used on their own, like one R?
No, but I think that if you start using the R's, you start with one, because all the R's go hand in hand, you end up using the rest anyways.
Okay. Wow, I don't think I noticed that. How do you did you see it? Did you see it come up in your story, or how are you seeing it now? Why are you seeing it?
So say you start with resilience, right? So you have to keep moving no matter what happens. But in order to keep moving no matter what happens, you have to be creative in how you do this. So resourceful plays in part there. And so they go hand in hand. And as you keep going and doing things, more R's just pop up. They just happen.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Nuleki, what's your thought? Can you use it on your own, on its own?
I have the same thought process as Nasrat. Same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Over time, they will cross paths with each other.
Okay. Short time, over a very short time, they cross paths with each other. And which is exactly what I sort of introduced them as, that we use them all the time. It's just a matter of us wanting to be being aware of them, identifying them, and taking ownership of them to be able to use them and become better leaders. Right? So what are we taking away from just this brief conversation that we had? What's that nugget that is standing out for you in this conversation? Mama N?
Clarify the question to me.
So, okay, so in all our in the last few minutes, we've spoken about how the R's show up, how we are learning from each other, how they are in use constantly, and that is my takeaway. What is your takeaway? Just in the conversation that we just had now with regards to the R and how we use them in our relationships. What's your takeaway?
Yeah, and earlier on, I wanted to comment on what Elias was saying, particularly on the question that he asked. More often than not, we look far for answers when the answers are just here close to us. And it makes me think of the TV program, Family Fruit, where Steve Harvey asks simple South African questions. The answers go too far, and you find that it is right here. So without thinking too deeply about the 7 R's, we are applying them every day. Perhaps in terms of our reflective moments, you can start identifying them and see where you are excelling or where you are running low on your R's and practice them, which came out very, very clearly today.
Thank you, Mama Anne. Any more takeaways, Nusrat? Leila? Anybody?
I think just really something that stands out is the power of learning through everyone else's stories. And I think, I want to spend some time reflecting on experiences that I know have happened in other people's lives and think of, how that can relate to me and how I can actually learn from that and use those experiences as well as obviously the things I've experienced personally myself.
Thank you, Leila. Mululeki?
I mentioned earlier perspective. So through this conversation that we're having, I learned that perspective plays a very important role in how we perceive things. through this, we've seen that each of these R's, in some other way, will end up correlating with each other. And yeah.
Okay, so there's correlation. Cool. Nusrat, what's your take?
I think I should be more open-minded to the fact of how we are all alike. I tend to be very close-minded on that fact that, like Ilya said, we're all alike, but sometimes we focus more on the differences within us instead of the similarities. And that Ilya said about winning the war, my mind absolutely exploded. And I'm going to think about that. And I'm going to write it down and paste it on my wall so that I can look at it every single morning because I can't stop thinking about it.
Amazing. Amazing.
I mean, I got the question wrong too. I mean, when I was in first year, like the person that I went to, and he asked me, I said like to know your enemy. So like for me, it was always just when you have these experiences, we need to open up our minds and realize that as human beings, our knowledge is always limited. That's, even though some of us have advanced in mathematics, in social sciences, in science, in economics, there's always room for more wisdom. There's always room for more. And that's why we have to be searching for that and looking for that wherever possible. And that's, for me, what education is. It's not just trying to read information so that you can get good marks on your test. There's a certain component for that. There's a place for that. But education is transformative. And so that, because and it's transformative, and what makes that process easier is to recognize firstly that you need transformation. And once you realize that you need transformation and you see education as a tool for transformation, then there's nothing stopping you from searching for education. But not just information, like what you get in school. Searching for deeper meaning. When always said something quite profound that, knowledge is something that must marinate in your soul.
Taking us to church.
Just marinate in your soul. Yeah. It goes to your brain, but it also goes to your heart and to your soul, so that it evokes change and action. So that's what my message is to all of you, that all to the students, at least, that don't think that education is limited to school, because Mark Twain said something very brilliant. He said, don't let school get in the way of your education. So education is broader than that. And the knowledge journey doesn't stop when you matriculate. You could say it starts after you matriculate. So don't forget that.
Wow, Elias. Wow, Elias. That's deep. Very deep. Like, it's like you're almost saying that there's always different levels of each of the resources that there are that we're talking about today. And that on every level of success, a different kind of relationship you need to build, a stronger one, or a different kind of resilience you need. More depth in all these resources that we sort of have identified today. Thank you so much. That's deep, very, very deep. Did everybody get a chance to share? Charlie, I see you saying stuff in the.
Yeah, I'm just summarizing for those of you. Just have a read if you can, because there's a lot of stuff being shared here. But I just wanted to say that I hate formal learning. Not hated, but I was a bit distrustful of formal learning. Informal learning like this will always be my preferred way of learning. So I'm agreeing with Ilias to say conversation and storytelling and sitting around tables and listening to people, whether your family or friends, it's education just as much as opening a book. In fact, in my experience, I've learned more from that than I have from books, and I love books, not academic books. Yeah. But so I've just summarized a lot of what people have said, and you'll notice I've stressed the leadership. We are talking leadership, even though we haven't mentioned the word a lot.
Yes.
When you things like people saying, like Kotso saying, I realize now I need to build teams. I need to help people in teams. That's leadership. Leadership is almost like oxygen. Everywhere we go, there's leadership. The question is, do you know that you're leading at the moment you're leading? Because when you do, you can use it even more. Okay?
Yeah.
That's my 5 cents worth.
Yeah. It's that in the personal relationship that you build with yourself, constant for you to be the best, be the leader that is needed at a particular time. And I see you've put our checkout question, because that was not the checkout question. It's just to some of our learnings from just the storytelling, and we've summed it up so very nicely. It's almost like we are ready to exit our session today. But how do we become more resourceful? Where in your life do you need to be more resourceful as a leader? Which resource do you think is going to help you achieve that resourcefulness? In the R's, of course. In the R's. Which R do you think is going to help you to be more resourceful as a leader? And where do you need to be more resourceful?
I'll go. Most of the time, particularly we senior citizens, think that through life experience and all that, we do know quite a bit. But I have realized, I've got kids that are in their 30s and 40s. The amount of resources I get from those is just unbelievable. And it has opened me up to just open up. It doesn't matter who it is. They can be resources at different levels. Sometimes just to compare and see where you are and where you can improve yourself. So I have changed my hardwiring to say there is so much that I can take in terms of being resourceful and also appreciating those resources so that I can encourage them to share even more. Yeah, so that's me.
Thank you. Thank you. Khoto, I see you're gone. I thought you were ready to go. I thought you had your mic unmuted for the next person to say. So where do you need to be more resourceful? Which R is going to help you?
Responsibility, or actually reasoning. Reasoning is one of the R's that I like, because sometimes you cannot go through or maybe pass through a situation without reasoning. Some of the things you have to do, you just have to do them while reasoning. You just have to reason first before doing something, because you cannot do something without reasoning. You won't actually you won't get to the depth of what you're really doing without reasoning. Because okay, let me just say I just need to write an exam and I didn't study. Reasoning is just more like studying for your exam. You just have to reason first, think before you do something, or think before you talk. That's how I understand reasoning, and I just love it because yeah, I can do a lot of things while reasoning. With reasoning, that's the art that I like.
Thank you so much, Kato. Luleki?
For me, it would be to be responsible, because as a leader, you have an influence on people, and what they take from that is what they will do, just as Charles said. So being responsible would entail for someone to take responsibility for their actions, to look at things in such a way that it would benefit everyone included, you know. So I think responsible is the one for me.
Thank you, Luleki. Nusret?
I think that I find high importance in all of the R's, but I used to have this tendency to ignore relationship, and I used to take everything on my own shoulders, and I forget that there are other people that can help me with it, and that's because I was always lacking in relationship. So when I work on my relationship, I won't take everything on myself all the time in terms of leadership, because like in school we always have a leadership committee. It's never just one person in charge, and sometimes I forget that there's the committee, and that used to be because people don't commit as much as they should. So I just do everything myself, but I shouldn't.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nusrat. Charlie, can you, while we're sort of doing our checkout, can you put up PowerPoint for the link for the evaluation? And that we also getting
Elias,
ready
can
to
you put the link onto the chat, because I'm not my power went down, and so I'm not a co-host anymore.
I'll put it in the chat now. I have it ready.
That should be sufficient. I had to reconnect. Yeah.
Okay.
And for if the students could fill it out now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's why I'm sort of wanting us to sort of have it on our screen so that they can link on it, or in chat so they can link on it while we're also chatting, because of it's the rest of us who are left. They have already sort of said their learning.
Can I suggest Elias and Leila also give themselves the license to complete? The more we understand your experience of what we do, the better it is for all of us. And for Mleki and Khotso and Nusrat, feel free to write essays if you want to write essays here, right? If this has provoked you in certain ways, surprised by, tell us as much as you can. Don't feel like you're doing an LO class here, yeah, where you want to write a one-liner and dive into your brain, right? Please be generous with your comments. Not generous as in kind, but generous as in say as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, so the link is
yeah, I just wanted to confirm Nazrat's comment. It's a very, very common leadership problem. I'm owning it for myself here. How easy it is to try and think you have to do it all on your own. And then most probably Elias has had a bit of that at some stage, and Leila as well, I'm sure. As soon as you find yourself in leadership roles, you find yourself feeling like your shoulders have to get very broad. And the skill of delegating is a very undeveloped skill. So Nusrat, you're right on the money. And I'm glad you're learning that age 17 or 18 rather than at my alternative age.
Alternative.
When you get a certain age, you're very, very sly about describing your age. Yeah?
Of course. You need to be resourceful about it.
There we
But
go.
yeah, the rest of us. I'm guessing Luleki and Khotso, and are you have access to the link already and you're filling it in?
Oh yeah.
Just raise your hand
Yes,
if you.
I'm filling it
Yes,
in at the moment.
Thank you so much, guys. But Leila, so where do you need to be more resourceful?
So I think I said it partially earlier, but I think something that will help me is to reflect more within my interactions with other people and learn from that. And I think that would help me be more resourceful.
Okay, so which R is going to help you to be?
Reflection and linked to relationship, obviously. Yeah.
Okay. Elias, what about you?
Charles was quite right there about how when you are in leadership positions, it can be very challenging to delegate because ultimately you want a particular standard of output, and usually the leader is the most experienced person in that particular job. Usually well, at least at Tutonic, most of the jobs that are being done by other people, I've done it too. And like I've done it first and then, okay, teach somebody else how to do this, and then delegate that. But I do feel that sometimes also a bit of insecurity saying, okay, are you going to take the risk and allow somebody else to do something when you know that if you did it, you would have the standard that you're looking for, but at the same time, by you keeping on doing all these things, you are absorbing a lot of time that could be invested in other more important things. So that's something that I'm always trying to work on. But I do have a great team. Obviously, Leila's here, but now I wish the students could also meet the other people involved. Without them, Tutonic wouldn't be what it is. But I guess it's just about trust and being open to other people doing something that you've been doing for years, and having faith that they will do it to the same level that you've been doing it, given the fact that they don't have the same experience that you have. And that's something that I'm working on. Yeah.
Thank you, Elias. Thank you. And I've also learned quite substantial today, and I think there's always something more to learn regarding the arts. We handle them almost daily, but conversations like these help us to even identify them in our lives. And I think building more relationships for me, I think, is the one thing that is seeming to stand out, as you guys are saying, that we tend to take on so much. And when we take on so much, and for right now for me, it doesn't even matter whether it's work-wise or emotional or inside stuff, whether external or internal. But we take on so much that we forget that there are people around us that can help us almost carry the load, make it easy, find a better level of resilience in you, improve the relationships that you that you have in your circle. So relationships for me is proving to be very important right now. That sharing that burden, sharing the workload, is very important. Not because you can't do it, but you are trusting that others can help you to carry and achieve the goal that you have set for yourself. Charlie, any thoughts as we are faster?
You guys,
Sessions. Our session is
I would just be going around in another circle if I had more. I'd be interested. Anne, got anything else you would like to share?
Yes, I think what came out so clearly in what Elias was saying is through all this, building trust is very, very critical. It's not an easy thing to give away in terms of your own power, but through risk-taking and being reflective, one is able to do that. And the sharing with in today's session was just so beautiful. And what's resonating in my head now is what Mululeki said earlier on about when we were doing the container. He said perspective. And perspective is very close to reasoning and understanding where the other person is coming from, and making room to trust the person until obviously they mess up the trust. But yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for being present, for allowing yourself to trust the container and dive in that deep to learn that much about yourselves. We are privileged to have these platforms, and it is also a great privilege to learn from each and every one of you. Thank you for today. Just to find out before we leave, has everybody finished their eval?
So I think we don't, sorry, are you referring to the evaluation form?
Yeah, the link.
So I think we should, I think as long as they've started it now, it's okay, but we don't want to rush them as well. I think reflecting is important, especially if we're saying, we want them to write as much as possible. So if they can just prioritize that to just spend the next couple of minutes doing it themselves, then I think that would be perfect. Yeah.
And to encourage, just to, if you have benefited from it, to encourage your friends to come to the next ones, because it's always great to have more people and to learn from each other. More people, there's more stories, more experiences. So please spread the word to your colleagues.
That sounds good to you, Mbuleki and Nusrat? We've lost Khoto.
Yes.
Mululeki, are you in grade 11?
I'm in grade 12. Trick.
I was hoping you would say grade 11. It doesn't matter. Okay. But I'm thinking if you've got a brain as good as yours, then we want to listen to the other brains from Boksburg. Okay.
Okay, I'll introduce my friends.
You're talking our language now, Mululeki.
Okay.
And I'm not very far from you, to be honest, geographically. So if you don't, I'll come and find you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, great.
That was a tease. I promise I won't come and find you.
Okay.
Nusrat, are we good? Are you okay with just the space and the awareness of completing the evaluation?
Yeah, everything is great.
Okay, and you're gonna bring Anara?
Oh yeah. Yeah, in fact, I think I will tell my class on Tuesday when I get back to school. I'll just invite them all.
Great stuff. Great stuff. So thank you, everyone. It has been a beautiful session. I think we'll wrap it up here. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. See
Thank
you soon.
you.
Enjoy the
Soon,
rest
soon.
of your weekend.
Yes.
You too.